First at noon for the third time this week, Honolulu police are investigating another armed robbery involving a machete, this time at the Walmart in Kunia. Police say a man entered the store shortly before 11 last night and threatened an employee with the machete. He took items and then fled on foot towards the Times supermarket. He's described as about 5 feet 8 inches tall with a neck tattoo, and he was wearing khaki shorts, a baseball cap, and a backpack. This is the third robbery using a machete this week. Police are also investigating a case in Kapolei on Wednesday night and another one in Chinatown early yesterday morning. HPD has not said if the cases are connected, but if you have any information, please contact Crime Stoppers. We're learning more about an officer-involved shooting on Maui. An eyewitness told us it happened at a gas station near the Kahului Ace hardware store. Now that's near the corner of Ma'a and Pa'a streets. They said a man was drinking alcohol, acting belligerently, and disobeying officers' commands when they suddenly saw him point something at the officers and saw a flash.
At approximately 7:27 p.m. this evening, Central Dispatch received a call regarding a terroristic threatening type of incident in which a male was reportedly armed with a firearm in an open field off of Maui Parkway. At approximately 7:30 p.m., officers responded to the scene, encountered the male, who disregarded officers' commands and opened fire. Officers returned fire, striking the male. No other injuries were reported at this time. Investigation remains ongoing, and it is very preliminary at this time.
We have no details yet about the suspect's condition, but he was taken into custody. We have been able to confirm that no officers were injured. This comes just 5 months after the fatal shooting of Officer Suzanne Oh in Paia. An MPD has arrested a man for an unprovoked attack in the Target parking lot last week. We've learned the victim's injuries. His girlfriend says they were leaving Target in Kahului last Friday night at around 8 when they were approached by a man they never met holding an aluminum bat.
Yelling at us, holding the bat up, saying that we killed his dad. And then I was kind of just like, oh, we don't know you, like, go away. We don't know who you are. We don't know who your dad is. He's like, well, you're trying to kill my dad, and just threatening us. And then when I kind of said to stop and get away, he kind of was just like looking at me and my daughter, and I kind of had to step to the side just to get her to safety.
The suspect, 32-year-old Gabriel Pankey, was charged with assault and criminal property damage. Court records show he has 9 prior convictions and was sentenced to probation for burglary back in 2018. Back on Oahu, police are investigating after an explosive device was thrown into a Kakaako building's driveway Thursday afternoon. It happened around 3 p.m. on Queen Street. Police say an unknown man threw a canister into a covered driveway, triggering an explosion that damaged concrete, lighting, and wiring. No one was hurt. The suspect ran into a nearby alley and has not been arrested. Now, this is the same building where police busted a gambling operation last August. Anyone with information is urged to contact HPD. And police are now investigating yesterday's house fire in Liliha as arson. It took firefighters 6 minutes to get to the scene and then just about 18 minutes to get the blaze extinguished. They say the home at Kapua Lane and North School Street was empty. No arrests have been made. HFD says it caused an estimated $5,000 in damages. Officials in Minnesota and Oregon are speaking out after federal agents shot 3 people during immigration raids this week. This as protests erupt across the country. Melanie Zanona has the details.
Tonight, more protests in cities across the country after federal agents shot 3 people over the past 2 days. In Minneapolis, the mayor there pushing back after several Trump administration officials quickly concluded the shooting of Renee Good by ICE agent Jonathan Ross Wednesday was justified. Vice President J.D. Vance saying this on Thursday.
The reason this woman is dead is because she tried to ram somebody with her car, and that guy acted in self-defense. That is why she lost her life, and that is the tragedy.
The fact that Pam Bondi's Department of Justice and this presidential administration has already come to a conclusion about those facts is deeply concerning.
Officials in Minnesota say federal investigators are excluding state and local police from the investigation.
They called Renee a domestic terrorist before they even knew her name. That does not look like fairness to me.
In Portland, Oregon, the Department of Homeland Security says a Border Patrol agent shot 2 people during a traffic stop Thursday, targeting an alleged Venezuelan gang member. DHS saying the driver weaponized his vehicle and attempted to run over agents when they identified themselves. Portland's mayor demanding ICE halt operations pending an investigation.
We know what the federal government says happened here. There was a time when we could take them at their word. That time is long past.
On Capitol Hill, House Democrats on the Homeland Security Committee want Trump administration officials to be called in to testify.
So you try to give the people in charge of the agency an opportunity to come talk. And that's what our request is. Come talk to us. Let us know what's going on, what's your position.
In recent days, congressional Democrats have talked about using the annual appropriations process to rein in ICE operations using the annual budget for the Department of Homeland Security. But Republican Speaker Mike Johnson asked about that idea today, said it would be terrible, and said we should not be limiting money to the Department of Homeland Security at such a dangerous time. Melanie Zanona, NBC News, Washington.
Back here at home, Maui Councilwoman Yukilei Sugimura has announced she plans to run against Mayor Richard Bisson in this year's election. She says becoming mayor has been a lifelong dream of hers. She shared her priorities with Chelsea Davis.
You know, Chelsea, people have been asking me for over a year if I would run for mayor.
Council Vice Chair Yukilei Sugimura is running for mayor of Maui County. She's held the seat for the upcountry residency area since 2016. She's the current chair of the Budget, Finance, and Economic Development Committee, overseeing the county's multi-million-dollar budget, and is the former chair of the Infrastructure and Transportation Committee. She says she has a reputation for being fiscal conservative and an advocate for infrastructure.
I call it pipes, permits, and pavement. We want to build, right? We want action.
She wants local residents to be able to afford to live on Maui. When asked how she plans to accomplish that, she says if she is elected, she vows to expedite the county's permitting process.
Our permit process takes so long. Right now it's 300 days, and we are the longest permit processing in the whole state. So I want to get rid of that and do this faster.
She was her senior class president at Baldwin High School, has worked with Governor George Ariyoshi, late Senators Daniel Akaka and Daniel Inouye, and Senator Mazie Hirono, but says it was the controversial Bill 9 that really pushed her to run for mayor. Current Mayor Richard Bisson proposed the bill after the 2023 fire disaster left thousands of residents homeless. The bill to phase out more than 6,000 vacation rentals in hopes to turn those into long-term housing for locals was signed into law last month. Sugimura did not support the measure, saying it could cause a major economic hit because of tens of millions of dollars in tax revenue loss and hundreds of millions of dollars in visitor spending loss. She also says property owners are unlikely to convert their units to long-term rentals and believes they will instead remain vacant or sold to outside investors.
As a budget chair, my biggest responsibility is how not to raise your tax dollars, how to spend it more wisely. So any way that we can do the best with Bill 9, because it's law, I'm there to do it. So I'm here to solve problems.
The primary election is on August 8th. Chelsea Davis, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. Let's take a live look outside from our tower cam, taking a look towards the reef runway out there. Beautiful across the majority of the state. A few showers over the leeward side of Hawaii Island. Right now at the airport, it's around 80 degrees. We're still seeing these light winds. We're actually seeing Kona winds around 7 miles per hour out there. And pretty humid, or at least the humidity has been lower over the last couple of days, but it's still warm in the afternoons. The next couple of days, Saturday and Sunday, mostly sunny. We're tracking our next front that's going to be moving in on Monday, bringing in occasional showers. It's not going to be a washout. We're going to be seeing a better chance for rainfall statewide, and that's going to be moving in. A quick look outside. Again, over the last couple of hours, we've seen a few sprinkles over near Kailua Kona, and it's been relatively dry over the last couple of hours across the majority of the state, and that weak front is over on Kauai. I'll give you a full breakdown of the next front coming up.
Thank you, Drew. The man who was killed in a Sunday night crash on the H1 freeway near Makakilo is being remembered. Kavika Monteiro died as he changed a tire in the shoulder lane of the freeway. The 26-year-old was hit by a driver who lost control while trying to avoid colliding with another vehicle. A close friend from middle school recalled talking to him before the crash.
Hey, that accident, it was Kavika, and like, I didn't believe it. You know what I mean? Like, you were just on the call with him a few hours ago. How would you tell me this happened?
Family members say Monteiro's cousin was critically injured in the crash as well. Monteiro's death is Oahu's third traffic fatality so far this year. Meanwhile, parents of Farrington High School students are raising concerns of major traffic safety issues around the campus. Casey Lund has more on this.
Aloha from just outside of Farrington High School. This is in our own backyard. Hawaii News Now just down the street. So we see these kids, they come into the newsroom all the time, very concerned about their safety. So we wanted to come down here and see what the situation was. And I want to point you in the direction here on this busy street. We're on King Street, and you see some of these students out here with signs, and you can't really make it out right now, but on the other end of that sign is an arrow, and that's all that those signs are. They're just pointing, directing people down King Street to come in here and check this out, to drive right in through this entrance. They'll go up there and then they'll drop their kids off. Now, I just talked to the principal, Lori here, who told me they've been hearing from parents, they've been hearing from motorists that there have been way too many close calls right here on King Street. Really, when you think about it, it's from Hoftailing and down King all the way to Kalihi Street. That is really the campus of this historic school, and that's where so many of the kids right here in Kalihi go to get their education every day. So it's important to keep them in mind as you're commuting to work, because this is a hugely busy street. King Street going into town or King Street going that way west. Very busy with a lot of industrial traffic as well. The principal telling me that this has been an option for parents since the beginning of the year, but a lot of people weren't using it. That's why they're trying to activate students, not just the student government that took this upon themselves to try and figure out a plan, figure out a way. There's some signage along the way here as well, but also the junior ROTC program here stepping up and getting some of these kids out here with walkie-talkies, trying to get that messaging to parents to change the behavior, because what was happening was a lot of folks were pulling off to the side here on King Street or on this Mauka side of King Street, dropping them off on the streets, and there were just way too many close calls. And when you think about the fact that we have already this year had traffic deaths, 3 traffic deaths here on Oahu, and then another traffic fatality on Kauai, 4 statewide in just the first week. Really tragic, especially when you consider that we just wrapped up one of our deadliest years on Hawaii roads in a long time, more than a decade. 2012 was the last time we went over 129 fatalities. So a reminder, as you're heading to work, you're heading to school, having a busy morning as most of us do, to be a little bit more mindful, take the extra time, and make sure we're keeping all of each other safe in 2026. Reporting in Kalihi, I'm Casey Lund for Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Case. A nesting family of Nene, including 2 goslings, have prompted the closure of the Kilauea Overlook parking lot and surrounding areas. This is to prevent vehicles from striking the geese. The Crater Rim Trail from Uekahuna to Kilauea Overlook and Kilauea Military Camp remains open, along with the picnic pavilion.
Luigi Mangione, the man accused of killing a healthcare CEO, was back in a New York City courtroom, this time facing federal charges. I'm Bradley Blackburn with how his lawyers are trying to block the threat of the death penalty.
Employers deliver a mixed bag to close out the year. I'm Evan Moon with the latest jobs report and what analysts say the data means for the year ahead.
The former Hawaii resident accused of fatally shooting a healthcare executive appeared in court today for a pivotal hearing in his federal murder case. Bradley Blackburn reports from the courthouse in New York, where the judge set jury selection for early September.
A line of people gathered outside the federal courthouse waiting for a seat at Luigi Mangione's high-stakes hearing. The 27-year-old is charged in the fatal shooting of a healthcare executive a year ago in an ambush on a New York City sidewalk. His legal team is fighting to block the government from seeking the death penalty. Their argument centers on the charge that Mangione used a firearm in the commission of a violent crime. They say the charge is flawed and should be dismissed.
What the federal government has done is they've charged Mangione with stalking, and they've said that is the crime of violence. And the defense is saying stalking is not necessarily a crime of violence. It is a crime, but it's not the kind of violent crime that would underlie the death penalty.
Mangione's lawyers also argue authorities prejudiced the case by turning his arrest into a spectacle after a 5-day manhunt.
There are arguments that the government has poisoned the well against Luigi Mangione by making a multiple of public statements declaring him guilty and saying that it's appropriate to seek the death penalty.
Mangione's case tapped into widespread frustration with the health insurance industry. Supporters gathered at the courthouse to show their solidarity. Friday's hearing concerned only the federal case against Mangione, but there is a state murder case as well. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics just released the December jobs numbers. Now, this report is the first full economic data from the labor market since the government shutdown. Evan Moon spoke to analysts about what it means for Americans in 2026.
Employers added 50,000 jobs in December, ending an already weak hiring year on a low note. Bankrate financial analyst Mark Hamrick says it's a little lower than expected, but not a surprise.
Weighing on the job market are some of the things that have been present throughout much of the last year. Volatility, disruption, uncertainty.
There was one encouraging sign. The unemployment rate fell slightly to 4.4%.
The unemployment rate going down, that's welcome news, but it's up from where it was to begin the year, which was 4% in January 2025.
Just 1 week into 2026, we asked CBS business analyst Jill Schlesinger what the data means for the year ahead.
Just to remind everybody, it's 1 month, and the data have been a little bit wonky since the government shutdown. So let's not extrapolate this to mean everything for 2026. We might see some good months here and there, but there is very low expectations for the first few months of this year.
She notes big changes like AI will continue to shape the job market.
How companies were deploying AI, what jobs they needed, what they didn't need. I think as we come into 2026, these themes will persist.
And Mark Hamrick says that increasing prices will also likely continue to weigh on the economy.
Consumers are bummed out about the lack of affordability as they try to purchase things they want and need. And I don't think affordability is going to be dramatically resolved in the year ahead.
The December report already seemed to reflect a pullback with a loss of 25,000 retail jobs, noteworthy given the holiday season.
The Federal Reserve will weigh the labor market data when members meet later this month, likely reinforcing expectations they leave interest rates unchanged. Evan Moon, CBS News, New York.
Hey, stick around. Coming up after the break, we've got your full First Alert weather forecast. We'll tell you what we're tracking and give you a look at the First Alert radar and satellite. The details just ahead.
weather with Drew Davis.
All right, well, happy Aloha Friday, everybody. We've made it to the weekend. Here's what we're tracking in our first alert weather headlines out there. Mostly sunny skies, calm winds the next couple of days. And then we're tracking showers statewide as we're going into Monday. A stronger front's going to be moving in. You can see out there on our first alert radar and satellite, we've got a very weak front that's hanging around Kauai. You're not seeing a ton of showers out there. Earlier today, we did see a few sprinkles over on the Kailua Kona side of Hawaii Island. Some pop-up showers out there. And with the rotation around the Big Island, where the winds kind of turn back towards the west, towards the leeward side of the island, we were seeing some funky weather out there. The NWS did have an alert up that the public was reporting some very weak water spouts just offshore. Also some light rainfall over the last couple of hours over near Volcano and Puna. But mostly sunny skies for the rest of the island chain. Moving down to Oahu, we have seen very sunny skies out there. It's been really nice. And then there's that weak front that's over on Kauai. You can also see in our first alert futurecast going forward, going to be pretty nice throughout the rest of today. Maybe a few sprinkles over near Kauai. And then going into Monday, there's that stronger front going to bring in a very quick round of showers out there. This is Tuesday around 3 a.m. and mostly sunny skies return by Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday. Our winds outside remain relatively weak, and that's going to be the case all the way throughout Friday and Saturday. You're really not seeing any strong wind pattern until we get into this upcoming Monday, where we'll likely be seeing some northerly winds bringing in some cooler weather out there. Our surf and shoreline forecast: north-facing shores around 3 to 5, west-facing shores around 1 to 3, east-facing shores also pretty small. A much larger swell is going to be moving in tomorrow, likely triggering high surf warnings out there. You can see in our 7-day forecast, we've got Monday highlighted in red as that weak front's going to be moving in, bringing in cooler weather and lower temperatures. Another day highlighted in red as we're tracking another chance for rainfall next week. All right, time for some good news now. A small town in financial distress has found a unique problem, or unique way to fix their problem.
Jeremy Roth tells us about their cheeky fundraiser.
A tiny town in Oregon looking to dig out of financial trouble did what anybody would do. They got together and got undressed. According to the Lake County Chamber of Commerce, the town of Lakeview was facing financial distress and was recently forced to cut funding for snow removal. To raise funds to combat the problem, locals came up with the idea of selling a cheeky calendar featuring prominent townspeople in various states of undress. The so-called Nearly Nude calendar, starring volunteers and shot by volunteers, features a lot of saucy bare shoulders and limbs, with the rest tastefully hidden, so it's really only cheeky in the figurative sense. With limited exceptions. Organizers say the campy campaign has since gone viral, with calendars sold all over the US and even in the UK and Japan, and the naughty body gamble has definitely paid off, with the original goal of $10,000 easily surpassed and raised funds now topping some 40 grand. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
You know,
I've got no words.
it worked.
Yeah?
It worked.
Yeah.
Firefighters do it.
Yeah. All right.
Could do a Men of H&N calendar if we got to raise money.
You know what? I'll pass. All right, here's one last look at our 7-day forecast. Saturday and Sunday, again, are going to be pretty nice. We're going to see southerly winds ahead of this front. A good chance for rainfall on Monday as this first front's going to be moving in. Some models are hinting at another round of wet weather as we're going into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. More details on the way for that. We've got to get through this first one first. Hey, take a look outside. Really nice out there today. More news coming up at 4.
Happy Aloha Friday, everybody. We made it.